Hello, everybody, and welcome to Life After Death and Beyond. And I know you don't recognize me, but I'm James Van Praagh, if you're watching this. And my good friend Kellee White is here. Hi, Kel.
Hi, James. Hi, everybody. James, you look a little different.
I look a little bit different, and there's a reason why. I don't do that often because my mustache feels like a an article of clothing to me. But and I know that a lot of past lives with a mustache. I think that's what the whole thing is of not wanting to get rid of it because I feel it's part of me. Yeah. And when I was a little boy at 8 years old, Kellee, and I was watching, it was Saturday morning, kids watching cartoons, I was doodling over breakfast. And there was a picture I drew of a soldier. And years later, I looked at it. It was a Civil War soldier, my eyes, and had a big mustache. Like,
oh my gosh, so you were drawing yourself.
I was drawing myself when I was 8 years old. So the reason why I don't have a mustache, which is very simple, I'm going to show everyone here because I have a good friend named Julie, and Julie wanted to go to Halloween as Day of the Dead at a local place, and here we are.
So it's you and
my friend Julie.
Like dead people.
Yeah, like Day of the Dead people. Yeah.
Oh my God, James, that's hysterical. Oh
we went to a lovely Halloween. I've never done it. So I went to a lovely Halloween party, and they had one lady with a pot in her head with a plant coming out of it, and her costume was Pothead, which I thought was
that's perfect for that.
They had a guy walk around in a box, and he was Ken. It was pretty great. It was fun. It was an 80s party at a musical place around here. What
a fun time.
It was fun. It was really, really fun. So I'm going it back now. So you'll see next couple of weeks I'll have it going.
Okay. Well, great.
Yeah. How have you been, Kellee?
I've been very good. How about you?
Good. Busy, but good. Busy, but good. Busy. I don't know. Busy. I went away. I wasn't here last week.
Right.
I was in the desert in a nice R&R and a nice little time in Joshua Tree, California. So it was nice R&R for me and Pearlie. So and you had a lovely angel show.
I did. Yes. I love working with the angels.
Yeah, I think it was so good. You're going to do a bigger one December 6th.
December 6th, we have a big show with a 2-hour class actually with Janelle Campbell from Australia. And we're really excited about this because we're going to be talking about the archangels. We're going to be talking about the angels, how to work with them. And Janelle is going to channel the angels, and she's an extraordinary channel.
She is.
We were talking about it, and it was really interesting, James. I had a dream the next morning, and this was what I got in my dream. And I had never shared this with you because we've been so busy, we haven't really spoken much. But what came to me in my dream, and I told this to Janelle, that I heard you were the angel of fire, I was the angel of hope, and she was the angel of love.
Wow.
I thought that was kind of made a lot of sense.
Wow, that's great. Wow. I'm the angel of patience. Wow, it's going to be a great show. Well, tonight we have a real exciting show, which has been on my mind, I think, for a couple of weeks. And it's so interesting as you work in the spirit world, and they know exactly what we're thinking, and they're around us and helping us and guiding us. And so I've had some real insights, always willing to learn, to discover new things. We have to be. And I've discovered some new things, and they've been coming through to me for the past week in different ways. So if they said, think of us as bands, they're coming through you as bands of beings, not just one being, but bands. So, and I wrote down everything I could about jobs on the other side. There's so much more. There's a couple of great books that I want to recommend people get if they're interested in life on the other side, what they do on the other side, and what the other side actually looks like. This is a classic called Life in the World Unseen by Anthony Borgia. Life in the World Unseen by Anthony Borgia. And it was based upon a reverend who, in the lifetime in England, I think he was an Episcopalian minister, and he let out some his theology and discussed it. And we passed over. He found it was nothing like he preached. And he felt so guilty. He found a medium and came through the medium and described the other side in detail as a repentance. So the Life in the World Unseen, and More in Life in the World Unseen, and there's Here and the Hereafter by Anthony Borgia. Another great book. It discusses all about occupations of how things are. And it validates, because of what I've heard from the spirit world and my limited levels of 40 years of this work, it's very, very similar. But in the past 2 weeks, I've been open, and they've fed my mind with different incredible things to discuss tonight.
Ooh, well, please tell us.
Well, first of all, my friend Connie, who passed away when she was 30 something, and she was a lady that I talked about this before. It really helped me to empower myself when I was 10 years old. And she was just a neighbor. And she said, I have a young boy, your age, maybe let's play together. So we did, but I was more close to her. And we in the kitchen and philosophize. And I was always attracted to adults that were adults, the adult people. I was a child, but always attracted to older people. And we had wonderful talks about many things. Didn't necessarily believe in life after death or what I did. But I did a reading for her toward the end of her life. And when she was 59, she died 3 months later.
Wow.
But it didn't really come through to me, but she did come for the past couple of weeks really strongly. And I asked her what she's doing on the other side. What is that like? And she said, well, first of all, when you pass out of the box, and she referred to the earth world as the box. This is very limited here. She said, in your consciousness dimension, it's a very limited space. So think of it as you're flipping your lid, you're flipping the box open, and you go out to a multi-universal dimensional ways of being, where there are different phases of being, different levels of being, different existences. Mm-hmm. And she said, first of all, when you first pass over, of course, you're met or you're brought there by all your loved ones who you've had a connection, a strong, loving tie, magnetism to these beings who it doesn't necessarily be family members. It can be strangers who are not strangers because one time in your life you did a kindness for them. They don't forget that. They come and they greet you. So all of that. And many times you'll go to, sometimes there are buildings there like hospitals, not like our hospitals, well-being kind of spaces, no roof, and you lie there and depending on how type of passing you had, very traumatic, you might end up to get your prana, your energy back in one of these spaces. And or you might be over there in a lovely garden. You might be seeing your loved ones. You might be aware of waking up in some kind of a temple, if you will. Anyway, she said, and many times you'll go to a mother's house, which they create with their thoughts. Because in this world, there's a physical world, and we go into the astral and mental world. So it's a very mental world. We live here in the physical world in the box. The mental is outside. And she said, we can create everything with our thoughts, materialize things just with a thought. So they will materialize, let's say, the mother's house, something that familiarizes the soul. And it's really for them to adapt to the new environment. And many of them will go to their funerals and memorial services, if you will. And again, helping with the getting used to this change that has happened. And long story short, there will be many reunions, relative reunions, lots of family reunions. Many souls have the sense that they just want to go meet family members from the past. You're able to go and visit historic figures. You can go to music halls. There's many, many, many different types of things. Okay. Many of the first thing that happens also is there's a visit or a tour to the different realms which exist, all the different levels that exist.
So there's a tour.
There's a tour. Right away, they sent, my mother went through it. My friend Jack went through it. Connie went through it. Our friend Carolyn, when she passed over, she came right back and said, oh, Jamie. She goes, there's places here. And she goes, the people are kind of dopey. I'm like, huh? She goes, they're like the Walking Dead. And they showed her the lower regions. I'll call it that, the lower regions, because there are many different levels or phases of beingness, if you will. So that sometimes they're not even, she goes, they don't even know they're alive, or however you want to say it. But we here on this earth world, many of us don't realize we're alive. We will sleepwalking. Majority of people are sleepwalking here. And they don't wake up till they pass over. And then they come back and, oh my God, it's like a dream. I feel like I was in a dream. So that's what it's many times like that. And anyway, I've written a lot, I've researched a lot, but I've gotten a lot down. I've researched some great stuff here. You rejoin great minds, many accounts all at once, even before the re-entering, we call it the Summerland, when the earth and air was stripped down to just a bit of our vast eternal minds. And, in the spirit world, you come over in your colors. You don't talk in here, in this world here, we can hide our thoughts behind. But over there, you can't. You see each other as in your auric fields, your colors, the character of who you are by the colors you carry with you. So that's very interesting. And we all have a life review, of course. We go through a whole entire experience where we see and feel everything we did to other people.
I get asked the question all the time, James, how long does a life review last?
Well, you have to remember there's no time there. So time is only relative to this box, this dimension. So it's hard to say. It goes as long as it's meant to go till its impact with that soul. And they realize the lessons that they passed and those that didn't pass and what they have to work on now. So it could be, it's hard because it's not in this dimension. So it could be a flash like that in our time, so it's hard to say what the time is over there, but it happens. It's fast. It's almost like a lot of the near-death experiencers will often talk about they see the life flash and they have a life review, and it's quick. I guess they say it's fullness. It's a fullness to it, which was really more instead of the time. It's a fullness to each experience. You relive everything fully. The thought that you had, the words that you gave out to other people, good, bad, or indifferent, and then you see the rippling effect that your thoughts had, that your words had. Your words have energy, and it's always the intention behind it that makes the difference. So imagine if you had a past life review, you weren't proud of things. I don't want to say there's kind of a limbo, but remember you're in a very mental world. So your mindset might be stuck on certain ways of things you did or things you didn't do. Today I did a reading for a lady, and her mother came through and said, I'm sorry, I couldn't, give you that love that you wanted. Oh, and the person left on the earth said, I'm so upset. Is my mother okay? I didn't bring her to a party. It's been on my mind so much that I feel so guilty. So she's that way on earth. In the spirit world, they also feel that way. But, she came through a medium and said, no, it's okay. Don't be like that. And the mother said, many people on the earth level hold on to those things that don't matter anymore. That's the old self, not the new self. What matters is a bigger picture of I love you. So anyway, getting on, I'm fast forwarding because there's just so much. Once you become adapted to your new environment and the colors and the gardens and the vistas and the colors and colors. So Connie was kind of like my guide, if you will, the past 2 weeks, downloading and
wow.
And I was funny when I get a massage, which I do every week because it grounds me. I get such communication from this side. It's just like, whoa. So I was saying, what do you do over there, Connie? And she said, well, I'm a storyteller. I said, oh, you're a storyteller. She goes, yes, I go from dimension and spheres and dimensions and places and spaces. And if she had a trouble describing those spaces or places. So me being the Virgo saying, can you give me more of an idea of what you mean by that? She said, well, think of a rock. If you look at a rock, you might see the various layers of the rock and the stratas, if you will. So it's kind of like that. There are stratas that you blend into another strata, and a condition goes into another strata. And because depending upon your soul makeup, your understanding, your awareness, who you are, in your body, mind, and spirit, your much love you give out. So you go to places, she goes to those places that there are beings, and she said, not just human, there are many different life forms, James, and different universes. And I go and explain what the human experience is to those forms who have never experienced the human life. And I show them kind of moral dilemma stories. And just, not only do I talk about it, I demonstrate it to them by thinking of it, and it materializes right in front of the beings. And she said, don't think of them as human per se, because they're all different forms. And then she went on to say, they get the intention behind the story. They get the heart of it, what the meaning is behind it, because they've never experienced human condition, human life. Fascinating. And then I said to her, and she went very fast, but she was slowing everything down. She said, I also, and she always was a beautiful woman. She loved beautiful things, double Libra, loved beautiful things. And she said, I'm also, I love to create garments. And she showed me these garments, like, wow. And they looked like some are like just robes, if you will. And I said, well, those are beautiful robes. She goes, yes, you can call them that. She goes, and many wear them, but many choose not to. And I said, what would they wear? She goes, they can just be light.
Wow.
If you put a shroud on, they can. And she said, and then you'd call them headpieces, but we refer to them something different here. And she showed me these intricate looking headpieces that she imagines, and it's materialized. So that was pretty amazing. And she showed me this headpiece, which was so hard to get the colors. And then she showed me earrings she's created. And it was kind of a gold full earring, gold piece with pearls. And she said, it's not the material gold that you would know of. I can't describe what it is to you, but that's it. So that was her whole thing, which was amazing. And then our good friend Carolyn, who passed over, came to me and she said, oh, Jane, she goes, because her house is sold. She said, I just got my house sold. I said, did you? Because it's to some German couple. And her daughter said, she called the daughter, said, the German couple bought it. She goes, how do you know that? And Carolyn said, no, James, there are specialists in all different fields here. So she goes, when you want to sell a house, sometimes they have those specialists, those people who specialize in getting your house sold and bringing the right people in. They're kind of like matchmakers who will, with the same vibration of that house, in that area, and they will know. And she said, there are specialists in all different fields. There are color specialists. There are design, but these specialists for real estate will inspire the people down here, of course, to buy that. Or there are, of course, great inspirers of art, people that will work with colors and changing form and color and inspire those people on the earth who are open-minded to that vibration, to that frequency. So sure, there are specialists in all different fields, architects, gardeners,
Music.
music, all different types of music, playing instruments we don't know here. They say the blades of grass are in complete harmony. If you walk one blade of grass, make ooh, as harmony with all the other blades of grass will make one beautiful sound, which is in harmony to the landscape, to the mountains, to the birds, to the flowers. It has incredible colors that everything is in harmony. There's not any disharmony, especially where you go. Now you might go to a region or a realm or a space or a strata that is not of that is a little disharmonic, and the conditions are very different. And the beings who live there, the people, could be humans who unevolved, if you will, and are not fully, if you will, together or aware or awake, if you will. And Carolyn works with a lot of them as like a therapist, like she did here.
Like she did here, you bet.
I knew it was her. She said, Jamie, she goes, these people are very dopey. And that was her word, dopey. She was like, oh my gosh. And she said, they don't get it. They're like rocks. I said, well, we have that here on the earth as well. So it's very interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do the souls work on what they needed to work on Earth? Like, let's say they made a lot of, I don't know, bad choices on Earth. On the other side, are they doing any schooling to prepare for things?
Yes. There are schools over there. There are institutions of learning. I'll put it that way. Not schools like we think, but for instance, let's say someone had to learn about loving self. It's one of the biggest ones down here we come back for. And if it didn't seem like they love themselves enough or need extra help, they will go to a schooling and to learn ways of loving self, understanding self. I know my sister is in that right now. A lot of people tend to go back to school, they call it, university of learning. My father went to study more about sciences and astronomy, which is interested here, but he went to learn the higher truths, the higher works with that, which we can't understand fully. There's also, we have to remember, which I think is very, very important work, are those who do rescue work, helping others pass over. So addicts who have an overdose experience, when they pass, people that come to get them, not only family members, but specialists in that field, which will usually be those who passed over with an OD before, because they would understand the direct mindset of that soul that passes over that way, the conditions of the mind that they have. So they would meet them that way. And there are many women on the other side who, let's say, babies pass over, and they will grow up on the other side. They will completely mature over there, and they will have an adopted mother. Maybe it's a soul who wanted children down here on the earth, but she was never able to have them. Over there, she was able to do that until the natural mother will come by. But they help the children. Same with the men. And then, for instance, if you want to always do some painting, say oil painting, but never had a chance down here, you can do that over there. Or you want to learn how to play the piano, you can do that over there. You can have anything you want in the spirit world. That's what's called heaven. But everything on the earth and everything in the heaven worlds, the other spheres, are earned. We have to earn everything. So you can't just have because you want, you have to have earned it.
Interesting.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
How is it earned?
Well, it's earned by works. It's earned by living it out. It's earned by living it out. It's earned by doing it. But again, we talk about coming back to this earth, learning both sides of the coin, understanding it fully. I believe this. And this was told me very early in my development that everything is earned, but you work hard and you do it for the right intention, and then you'll be met with the results. You can't just get things because there'll be no worth to it. You see, there'll be no worth at all to it. Here you go. Working out Earth's future adventures. People with spiritual expertise are given laboratories where they create and they channel into people on Earth the next great advances to be made. So that's like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is now working on a mind-powered iPad, for instance. Performing arts as concerts and plays. You can go back in time that we'd have here, and you can see things all different levels of periods of time we had on this Earth. But over there, it's just pockets of spaces in those time periods that exist.
So can you go back to a time period that you had in the life? Like, let's say you had
well,
amazing thing.
I forgot to tell you this whole thing, which is weird. So Connie said to me, as I'm speaking to you right now, you know me as Connie, but I can also be the queen of a kingdom over somewhere else, or I'm a geisha woman somewhere else, or I'm this young being somewhere else. I'm doing that all at the same time. While you know me as that personality as Connie.
Yeah.
That's one of my personalities all at the same time.
Wow. Wow.
So it's an amazing, yeah. So we can satisfy curiosity. Allowed to rescue work here. First, rather personal. Consciousness vibration is still rising. So you might be invited by an advanced being to venture into the outer darkness and try to get the attention of someone there who can't see our lofty companion. So that's really interesting. When you first pass, or some guides will bring those beings to a lower vibration, to those souls, right? That, like Carolyn did, that will be closer to the earth, that vibration they just passed over, so that those in the lower levels, those here, can see them or sense them. And that'll open them up to go to the higher level, to help them realize that they've passed out of these regions. They're no longer going to be like that, and they can move on. Because some souls get lost in a mindset. And I think that's it. Can you imagine that?
No.
You know, everyone's always willing to, love is always there. And the light is always there, but you have to be willing to open yourself up. I have a hard time for cynics, because they've already made up their minds when they pass over, boy, they'll be with other cynics. Like attracts like, and you go to that region or that sphere with like-minded people. People think as you do. So all those cynics will walk around saying, I don't believe. Oh, Earth was just a dream. I don't believe this is the way it is. And they might not have any awareness of other higher levels or higher spheres. They might not. I'm just saying, as argument's sake, I'm hanging around with the new great thinkers. You could do that. Lots of traveling, different spheres, different, like a lot of people I've heard go on tours all over the place, helping to understand it. I want to read this. This is also from Anthony Borgia, from his book. And just as spirit souls are born into various and diametrically opposite conditions and environments, different races and nations, different social and educational and governmental systems, just in like manner do spirit souls at the time of transition go into various conditions of spirit, differing phases of advancement hereafter, varying and divergent places or points from which to start spiritual progress. All is according to the soul's culture, development, and knowledge. Each has attained in the flesh, all of which have created for the ego a certain vibrational rate, which is in harmony with the rate of synchronizing groups here in spirit. So you get together with your band of group of souls. And each spirit soul naturally gravitates according to the law to those of his own rate or kind. Isn't that interesting?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It makes so much sense.
And one of the first things you learn over there, they say, when you first come over, is you remembered, I will say, is the various laws of the spirit, which is, I'm going to mention them. Okay. These are just 7 of them. The law of detachment. Okay. Mm-hmm. To attain something in the physical world, you must let go of your attachment to it. So if you have an addiction and so forth, and to involve in the spiritual world, just let go of that addiction. So it's the detachment. That's why it's always good to get rid of the addictions while we're still here in the physical earth, whether it's codependency, whether it's some kind of substance abuse, whatever it might be, hoarding, whatever it might be. Next law, the law of pure potentiality. Your consciousness is unlimited, which means you have infinite creativity, and your presence, it's eternal in the universe. And Connie showed me that. They were all part of the stars. We're part of all of that. It's just we're so limited here. I think this is it. The law of giving and receiving. The universe relies on a constant flow of energy. That's giving and receiving. The law of karma. Every action you take returns to you. The law of cause and effect. Every action in the universe produces a reaction. The law of polarity. Everything in the universe has 2 sides. That's the duality that you're talking about, Kellee.
Yes.
And the last one is personal responsibility. We're responsible for our thoughts and deeds.
Well, it is personal responsibility. It's everything.
It is. It really is. Yeah. So again, you can be creative. You can be a designer over there, landscaping person, painter, teacher, musician, sculptor, animator, work with wood, illustrator. And I'm sure there are many, you'd be a teacher, if you will, to the levels.
You can be a therapist over there.
You can be a therapist
over there because a lot of souls need a lot of good therapy.
And remember this, which is really interesting, is a lot of people, and I love what they said, and they said it today as well. We come in bands. There are groups of beings who learn. Now, this is very, very interesting. When I do my demonstrations out in an audience, I'll often be aware of the bands of beings above the audience. These, like it's like a choir, and I'm like, and I know they have nothing at all to do with those in the chairs and down below. They're observing the process of mediumship so that at a future date, they themselves can attempt to send the thoughts, project it, and do it communicate in the correct way. Because it's an art of communication in mediumship, in receiving and giving. So
I've always thought that the soul on the other side goes to their person and gets the medium.
Yes, yes. Well, it's funny because our guides will guide us to the right medium, because we have to have if you will, similar life references in our mind. Yeah. So I bring through lovely people, great sense of humors and funny and down to earth, and they were kind of reflection of yourself. Now, my friend Jack that passed over 2 weeks ago, I told you about that story. Connie's husband passed over after so many, many years, and he said, "I found my true love." I haven't really heard him until yesterday.
Oh, okay. So, tell us about that.
So, and he said, Jamie, I call Jamie, and he looked 29 years old. He looked great. I met him when he was 32 when I met him originally. Wow. He looked young and fit. And he goes, "It's amazing here." And he goes, "Hi." I said, "Hi." He says, "You made it?" He goes, "Yes." He goes, "And you can hear me." I said, "I can hear you." He goes, he goes, he was with Jamie. He goes, "It's just incredible here." He goes, and he wasn't really a believer per se. He goes, yeah, you know what you're talking about, because I'm amazed. I'm amazed. It's a never-ending dream. It's an endless dream. I'm with my true love. It's an endless dream. She's so many vistas and colored vistas, which you just can't describe. It's unbelievable. And he said, and you can, the amazing thing was, Kellee, he said, "You can hear me. You can hear me, Jamie." I said, "Yes." He goes, "I can't believe it. Everything I reflect, the thoughts I have are reflected in your mind." I said, "That's how it works." And the words behind it, the intentions I just think about, you picked up on that. I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Not many people hear me from here, down your world, down there. They don't hear me, but you can." And I said, "Jack, that's what I'm telling you, 40 years I've been doing." But from his perspective now, he sees it in a very different way. Oh. And it's so many people will say that, Kellee. They say, walking around, it's so funny. They can't hear me. I'm here. They don't see them. Right. Frustrating for the spirit, really.
Oh, for sure. Wow. That's exciting for him, and that's exciting to know.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing over there. So, yeah. So, any great questions people have? Probably
I have a question. What about parties, James? Because whenever I've had dreams or visits on the other side, I'm always interrupting a party.
So there are parties, celebrations, I would say more celebrations. Now, what are the celebrations of? Well, it could be some kind of evolution, like a graduation or a new insight for someone. It could just be loving each other. It could be a rebirth day, right? So it could be a lot of that. I've been feeling a lot of, they do party. They have party organizers, right? Yeah. And the thing which is the most important to remember is over on the other side, people do their passion. People live out their passion. And that's why it feels so good there, is because you're living in complete love. Passion is love. If you're going to be in an environment where everything is passionately done, wow, amazing. Yeah. We know what it's like when you go to a wonderful museum and see incredible artwork, and you say, wow, it's just all this incredible, the aesthetics, the color, the feeling. Imagine that's all there is when you pass over that beautiful passion, a palette of passion of someone who loves to do gardening, who loves to work with someone to create a beautiful building, and at any given time period they love. Stained glass with using materials we don't have here, but they have in the other ethers, in the other worlds. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah. And lately I felt bands of beings around me. The past 2 days, I felt rows of spirits around me. And I was reminded that, and this came up today in this reading with this young lady, that, we're teaching them what we do down here, decisions and choices that we make in everyday life. We'll teach those in the spirit world. It's almost like a field trip, right? They come and they watch how someone lives their life. Many times it'll be the parents of a child, and they'll say, you're teaching me from your side of life. I didn't realize how to do that. You taught me courage. You taught me understanding. I didn't know that when I was in the body. You taught me how to do that. And that happens all the time, this interaction. So we're teaching them. They're not only teaching us, we're teaching them.
That's so good to know. That's
Yeah.
so good to
And
know.
whenever I do see them, Kellee, with that level of their learning, I always do see them in shrouds.
Wow, James, that
And
is
the shroud
wild.
is that color that you are spiritually evolved to. That again, everything's frequency and vibration.
So here's a question for us from Susan Johnson. So there's a life review, but no judgment for things done wrong?
Yes, there is. I wouldn't say it's a judgment because there's a great love there. There's a great judgment is so of this earth. It's not really a judgment per se. There is no God that goes, we go there, you write down the golden book, and you. No, we judge ourselves. We look at our own lives. We have our own life review, and many times our guides who are very compassionate because we're learning, and they're very compassionate about it. But it might be considered you could have shown kindness in this way. Now, if you only chose it this way, look what the circumstance would have been, and they'll show you, and it's like how that would have worked out if you had chosen this way. You chose kindness or compassion. Look how it would end up. That person would end up here. Look at the life you would have affected over here. So they show that, like animation, they will show you how it would have lived out if you chose. So it's not really,
It's not
like
judgment like that. It's more of
like grade school.
showing a positive twist to.
Yeah, it's like science. Science class test. We got a test back from science class. Oh, I could have done an answer better there. Oh, I should have thought about that better there. So it's more like things we're learning. It's just part of the learning experience. And a lot of souls will beat themselves up, and that's when you have guides who specialize in that soul who beats themselves up. So there'd be, if you want to call it a therapist soul or souls of the life review souls, there are those souls who specialize in that soul's mindset of beating themselves, criticizing themselves, judging themselves, and they specialize in helping that soul's mindset to realize that just learning, it's all about learning, and you're still full of love, but you're just learning. And it might be that soul will walk around feeling bad for a while, and I think that's the whole idea of where purgatory came from, which I think is, in a way, it's a mindset. I think there's some truth to that. I don't think you go through eternity like that at all, because you also are aware of the goodness that you've done and the love that you've shown and the caring, if you've done that.
Right.
That.
Right.
Who've seen power and money and greed is the way it is. And they'll end up with very low spheres because they're not doing it of service to humans. The one big thing, too, which I've learned my mediumship through all of this, and they often say it, is that number one, the biggest illusion is death. We think is that there's no death. The other is that sense of separativeness. We think we're separated. And one of the biggest things you first learn when you are aware of when you pass into that level is that we're all connected. Every single being, every life form is in harmony. And we come to this earth, it's disharmony because we are not aware that we're connected to each other. So there's disharmony here. So in those spiritual levels, when there's harmony, there's that sense of one, we're all one. And when some people ask me, what is your religion? I say, love. What is love? I said, love is one. O-N-E, omnipresent, nurturing energy.
Oh, that's beautiful, James.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Laura Crum has a question. When a scientist finds a cure for a disease, could this process have been found from ideas from the heavens transmitted to the scientist?
120,000%. So the mind, the great minds, if you will, those beings who've worked with the sciences over there, all inventions, every great piece of art, every great piece of music is first in the spirit world. It's created there, and it's downloaded to us here. We are what's called inspired, which means in spirit. So the more open we are to receive, we will be inspired to that. So if your vibration, your attraction, what your interests are is of science and of research, you will draw to you those beings who are research specialists in that field. So for instance, when I was learning to develop as a medium, I was drawing to me, which I didn't know until I was doing it, a doctor, a chemist from England, a being from another spectrum, from another space. We call them alien, but it wasn't an alien, but it was a being, a very tall being, what color, angel, you can call them. So a lot of different beings were there. And this is an interesting thing too. Whenever I see healers, I'm always aware of a band of doctors or nurses standing next to them. I swear to you. And they're in uniform. So I was at Lilia Boget, her name was. Lilia Boget, wonderful lady, 4'8". And she was from Canada. And she had a lovely healing space in Florida that I was invited to go to with my friend Pat. So Pat and I went, Patricia and I went. And she had 3 different rooms. She had a blue room, a green room, and a red room. And when I say that, I mean that there were beds in each of these rooms, probably 10 beds. And the bedspread were either red or green or blue. The colors were painted these colors. I'm sorry, pink, not red, pink. And what they represented was blue would be a self-expression, if you will, opening your voice up, being yourself, loving yourself more. Green would be indeed healing work, and unconditional love of self and others would be the pink. And she would assess you when you walk very naturally. Say, okay, well, you go in the pink room. Okay, you go in the green room. You go in the blue room. I was with Patricia, and she was both in the green room, and there was no one else was there. So it was very interesting. So she puts Patricia in the bed, and then I'm in the other bed, and she walks over to Patricia, and she tells her like a little nighttime bed story. She tucks her in, and as she's tucking her in, and I can't hear her just saying to her, I'm very aware that in the center of their room that there's a whole band of healers, like doctors and their spirit doctors, nurses, and that there's a team that peels off and goes to Patricia's bed. And then she comes to me and she's working on me. She's telling me, just be quiet and just relax, and you might feel things, and just says, I'm welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And she left, and I was aware of the beings that came over to my bed, and I just completely surrendered. And I felt them physically move me, and I was like, move, and like, whoa, my neck. And then went to areas that I've had, that I had issues with, if you will. And I felt stretching. I literally was pushed, and my back went up. And it was quite a bit. It was probably about 40 minutes, I would say. Wow. And sometimes stronger than others. And then afterwards, you go, and she comes to get you, Lillian, brings you into the main house, and you sit down, and you have tea or coffee, and I call them a post-mortem. And she asks you about your experience. And we both felt the same, very similar things about being physically touched and worked. And I felt a lot lighter, stretched, open. Yeah. So it was pretty wild, these bands of spirit. And that's all over the world that these beings go to, bands of these beings. They go to the embassies, go to the UN. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, seen, aware that there are really groups of beings that go to the UN and go to the houses of government. I can't tell you how many. There are many, many, many who might feel regret for how they behaved on the earth. They come back to change things and bring a positive outlook to things. Everywhere in the world.
Wow. Donagin, let me say, Siddhartha says, are there souls that just can't get past their guilt from their deeds on earth?
Right. So just like I talked about with here on the earth, you feel bad about it, but at least here on the earth, you can say, I'm sorry. But over there, you have a little bit of mental, what you're talking about is guilt-ridden. So hell to me is that sense of resentment. Right. And a sense of guilt. I resent I didn't say I love you, or the guilt of not doing it. But there comes a time where you'll have other beings, those beings are specialists, to help you open up your mind and forgive yourself, start loving yourself. So they'll help to, if you will, alter the mindset in a way. And I don't know how, of course, they do that. But just like a therapy, see, it's done in that way. And it's I know that it has to do particularly with self-love, and find the aspects of that soul that they love, and understanding that it was just a small time in their evolution, their soul evolution, this time on the earth. And that's an earth trait. You don't have to hold on to it anymore. That's an earthly trait, but it'll help you grow in your soul self, your spiritual self.
And so, they may later on end up being a guide to help others 100%. With guilt, because guilt is such a large one on earth.
100%, Kelly. That's exactly right. Because they know what it's like to be through guilt. Right. What better teachers would be the ones that have already been through it, so they know from experience what it's like.
Right. So true.
So and people, so funny because, yeah. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say, so people are learning all the time on all sides.
It's all that we don't get much of a rest. I mean,
well, speaking of that, do people rest on the other side?
People do rest. That when you first pass over, you do sleep. There's like a slumber state, and then you kind of wake up and get into that life review. But there are times that don't describe as sleep as we know it. But it's more of a slumber. It's more of a relaxation. So you can just sit down or lay down by a tree and close your eyes, if you will, and just breathe in the harmony that rejuvenates you, re-energizes you, and you're fine. Same thing when, like I said earlier, when people first pass over who've had long-term illnesses, that the life force has been depleted from their bodies, they might find that they'll be in a little bit of a hospital space to recharge and replenish their energies, which will be drawn into them. The magnetic forces will come into their being from the environments around them, and they'll bring their soul more back to life, if you will.
And let's talk about this, James. Can people decide not to reincarnate?
Oh, sure. Well, sure. We have free will, but the thing with my friend Connie was talking about was the vastness of the universes and the galaxies. And I love the analogy my guides once said to me when someone asked the question, where is the Earth based on the spiritual rung of evolution? And they said, well, the Earth is like a grain of sand on a beach.
Oh my gosh.
That's how enormous it is. You do not have the mind capacity in the box, right, in this three-dimensional world to understand it. So it's a vastness. It's a vastness there. It's like, think of the wind. It's like it's a vastness. No, we can't comprehend here.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Like we can't comprehend the colors even.
Oh,
Colors
so what
on the other
Connie
side.
said also was, I don't think I told you this. We live in a three-dimensional world here on this earth, but over there, and she was also a bit of an artist as well. She said, you step through colors over there. Color, you step through them and you exchange love for the color, you feel the love that the color is made of, the harmony, and it changes colors and it blends and it's just a beautiful thing. Of course, you choose to maybe wear a garment with various colors that can change right there with your thoughts. That I've used this example before on this show, and this is from Anthony Borgia, when he talks about a person walking down the street and perhaps they pass a house, and there are houses over there. If you choose to have the environment of a house, you're going to have it. They'll be in perfect harmony to the land that surrounds it and to the other houses. It's not like here on the earth, they push everything together. Every house has room to breathe, to celebrate its beauty and its dwelling. So you might see a friend on the porch and you say, oh, and you have flowers in your hand. You say, oh, hello. And you throw the flowers, and those flowers will fall in front of that person and embed themselves on the porch and still stay alive, but they're there forever for that just beautiful, kindness, that the acknowledgement from that person. Things
Wow.
like that happen all the time. There's things that happen just so beyond us.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like I often say, 30% of the soul is inside, 70 is outside.
Right. Exactly. But also, I mean, we can go to different galaxies. We
Oh,
can travel do all kinds of travel on the other side.
and we do that when we go to sleep at night. I'm sure we travel all through different spheres and galaxies and universes, and that's just the way it is. And it's so interesting to think humans think this is it. That's probably part of the whole thing, is that they're not used to this vastness, the enormity of that. But then again, that goes along with stepping into a new world, and to slowly remember that. But you can imagine that could be very shocking to some. And there's still people that I know from times gone by, 1930s, 1940s, who still are only aware that they've left the body. I don't say they're the lowest spheres, but they're still very close to the earth in that they don't want to go on anymore. They want to stay right where they are, and they want to live out in a house there with, landscape is fine, but they're not willing to move on. And every soul there'll be a sense with each person. Every soul will have, let's say they love their steak and their martini.
Okay.
And you pass over and you still have that desire, that the addiction, if you will, of things. We desire to have some. You can have that. You'll have that over the other side. You can taste the drink, and it'll have the same taste. It won't hit you the same because you don't have a physical body. But the memory you have of it, just like the meat, the taste of the meat, because the memory that you have from the earth. But you don't need it anymore. You don't need those things. You don't need to eat anymore. That's just an old memory. So you really don't need sleep either. Just a memory.
Okay.
And you really don't need clothes, because that doesn't mean anything over there. It's your garments. You can see each other who really we are with the lights we shine, the colors of our light.
Yeah. Wow.
It's an enormity to it, which is and that's our home. We go through for people to understand this, before we come back in this three-dimensional world, the soul goes through what's called the valley of forgetfulness. Happens right before we come back into the body. And it's like a clean slate. So we can't remember those things, because number one, it wouldn't fit in the three-dimensional world for us. And also we'd be obsessed with past lives and things we didn't do right, and we might not continue on this time around in our school.
Right. Wow. Here's a question. Would the astral realm be the closest realm to our frequency?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct. Hold on. Another great book, After We Die What Then, by George Meek. It's a Bible. I've had this book from 1980, and it's a great book describing the levels of the other side and the astral world. And here we go. So you can see this a little bit.
Might be a little hard for people to see
Yes.
this.
So at different levels and different levels. So the physical or earth planes, okay, then your lower astral planes, then middle astral planes, higher astral planes, mental and causal planes, celestial planes. So there are phases of vibration, faster and faster and faster. So levels of being. And you can go, once you're at a certain level, you can go to those levels below you, but not higher, because again, you have to earn it. You earn your way up to those higher levels by your character.
Wow. Wow. This is wild.
Renee talked about the astral, the aliens abducting people. I don't know if that's, I don't know about that because, Renee, because I think there's all different levels of evolution, and I think there's all different types of life forms. And I think Spirit will often talk about the humans being very, very unevolved because we still kill one another. We're the only kingdom around that kills one another, like for just nothing, for power. So we're pretty unevolved. So I think that's a very human thing. It's about abduction, possession, all that. It's very human. Could happen. I don't know. Could happen. I've never heard it per se. I mean, I've heard of it, of course, but not in a necessarily malicious way. I don't know. My dealings with the extraterrestrials has always been in a very high vibrational frequency. They help me in development, without a doubt. I know him from the Pleiades. I know one of those Pleiadians. Would you say, Kellee, you're a star person? You know that.
I love the whole star seed, everything. Yes, and I know, and people were asking that when they pass, will they go to their original place, their planet, wherever they're from? And yes, I mean, absolutely. But there would be a stop in, what would you call that? Just
the astral world.
The astral world.
The astral world, and getting used to stepping into that world, of that space of not a physical anymore, but you become aware there's something else. And there's, what they call a second death. Once you're used to your environment in the astral world and you're used to it, then you go to where you belong. Then you go to that space. So there are also like couples who married 50 years, and I'll do readings and say, your mother and father happened today. Your mother and father are not together. So you realize, no, your father's learning somewhere else. Your mother's like over there. Well, how would that be? I said, well, just think of the United States. In the United States, there are all different states. Yeah, there's one country, but it's all different states. So it's states of being, states of awareness, states of learning. And that's really what it's about. And you go back home to that space. You feel comfortable with it. It's your home. So if it's, a place where you, in a starred seed, I don't know some of the names from Kellee.
Oh, I don't. There's
so many.
There's so many. Yeah.
And maybe that's one aspect of you. Maybe you belong to more than just that.
Right. Exactly. Well, I have a question. Let's talk about our beloved animals.
Yes. Okay. So animals, very interesting from what I've heard from the spirit people, that you not only will your loving animals that you've had in the earth come to rescue you. I like that word, rescue. Will come and bring you over. Will come and receive you. And I know that to be true. Yeah. I know it to be true as I'm speaking here now. And I wrote a best story once about it was a great story. A man had an old horse, an old Maine horse. It was an old, really very old horse. Could barely walk, a white horse. And when he first passes over, I'm gonna cry. There were no people there, but he saw his horse in the distance running over a hill to greet him. And it was in perfect condition and young again. And he comes to love that animal. So the love bonds, those magnetic bonds that we've created here, continue from the spirit realms. And again, everyone you loved, who you did a kindness for, will come and bring you home. Will come and celebrate your arrival. That's what it's about. And what you hear is so much love and happiness on the other side in that reception space, reception hall, if you will. And animals that you love will be there. And there are spaces where there are animals who live in harmony with one another. Well, they didn't live in harmony here, but they live in harmony. There's a great understanding. And if you wish to go to a place where the animals are roaming, you can do that without any violence of them being killed, again, human. So you can do that. There don't seem to be many insects. Don't talk about that. They're like on lower regions that they might exist in lower regions, these insects. I'm sure, of course, they will be, of course, life forms. But it doesn't seem to be in the astral world that I've heard of.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that either. I'm hoping there's no bees over there. That's
well, there'll have to be bees, but not maybe where you're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. I love honey.
I love bees. I love bees, and I once was and I've always loved bees. And then I'm playing with my dog Pearl outside throwing a ball, and I go get the ball because it was stuck, and it was like right on a honeybee. It's like a stinger.
Oh dear. Oh gosh.
But they're becoming extinct here, so we got to honor them.
No, this is true. So James, you have Mediumship 1 coming up.
Mediumship 1 is coming up. People can sign up now. It's the next course that's out there right now. It's a great, great course if people are interested in really discovering their own sense of sensitivity of their soul and beginning to working on the soul self and connections with not only themselves but the spirit realms. It's a good beginning class. So that's my school. Yeah.
Good. Do you have Mediumship 1? You have something else coming up too, don't you? Have an evening of spirit?
An evening of spirit sometime will be there. Hold on, let me see when that is. It's coming up. Hold on.
I swear I read that it was November 15th.
I did too, but I think we might have changed things around.
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe that's Oh, what day? Here we go. So I just got the word here. We opened up the door for mediumship 2 or 3, and days in a couple of days if they want to slip in before the next call. The first official call of mediumship 2 will be next week. So we have a Zoom call with everybody, and then they can go to the JP school to sign up now if they want to go on that live call with me. So that's a great call to have next week. You can find out more about the course and just go to, again, sign up at JP school this course. Just have the free Zoom call. You don't have to sign up. It's just free. You can find out more about it. And that's it. And I'm putting together some retreats for next year with Maureen Hancock. And I'm doing a yoga retreat and a self-healing retreat with a friend of mine. And I'll be in Portugal and I'll be in Spain.
So you have a busy year coming up.
I think so. Yeah. And I'll be working with our good friend, Mr. Ferrari, Alex Ferrari, Next Level Soul.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we'll do that. And you'll be with me probably when I go down to visit.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
In Austin, yes. We got to talk tomorrow and find out when.
Okay, well, you just let me know.
Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Carol.
Oh, join me too. Wait, before
talk about your angel thing.
Angel class on December 6th. And like you were saying, James, about legions of energy behind you. I've been feeling these legions of angels behind me, legions of this. So we have an interactive Angels and Archangel class with Janelle Campbell. She's going to be doing an extraordinary meditation and a channeling. So
and she'll do an exercise. She'll do an angel exercise that
her and
I have created this. So you guys should experience that. It's an amazing angel exercise to connect with them in a way which you've never done before.
Oh my gosh. Wow, James. I think that's great. And I just want to say thank you, everybody, for buying my book, Cracked Open. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, Renee.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.